exciting night of fighting, guys. So we decided to get back on UFC Fight Night 295, guys. Me and my boy Zion is here for the C and Z YouTube show. We're here. Hey, it's been a long wait. It's been some great fights that's been building up, man. And so I'm excited to get here. And no other person that I would rather do it with than my boy Zion. He has tons of UFC experience. And so I'm interested to hear his take. And also, if you guys are in the chat, make sure that you guys please, first of all, subscribe because we're out here just doing our thing for you guys,
Yes, sir.
trying to create content, put it out there. And please, guys, the main important thing is to get into the comment section and comment. Let us know who you think is going to win. Let us know if you think we're wrong or right. Hey, this is the kind of fucking chat room where we get in here and we talk our shit and we talk about fight night. So without further ado, thanks for whoever just came in here, man. Thank you guys for coming in. Make sure you shout yourself
Thank you
out.
for coming
So we can
in.
put you in the comment section, bro. So
Yes,
Zion,
absolutely, definitely. We got the UFC 295. It's gonna be dope tonight. We got three great matches actually. The three top matches are gonna be super great. And then we also do have boxing on the zone as well. That's gonna be good. Farragora and also I think the Fernando family runs that boxing event. So
right.
it's gonna be a great event. Also, Castillo is going to be fighting on that as well on the undercard. It's Luis Castillo's son, so that's going to be a dope fight as well. But yeah, man, we started off with the main one is going to be the UFC tonight. That's going to be a banger. I think the third fight it's going to be the girl fight, Jessica Andrade versus
Mackenzie Dem.
Angie Dem. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah, definitely. That's gonna be a great fight. I think Jessica has the heavier hand, but Demi is more of her skills are more up to par, whether it's coming from ground to stand up to striking and defending as well. So I think that's gonna be a great fight. She said she had a great camp. Hopefully, the distractions from she said a little bit about her personal life. She's going through like a divorce right now, and just figuring out stuff and whatnot. But she said she had a great camp. It shouldn't be a factor. So hopefully that doesn't affect her too much. But we all know, personal lives can affect somebody mentally, not physically, but mentally. So hopefully that fight is going to be good. We're definitely going to be watching. Definitely going to be seeing it. What she can bring, and she's new. She's not super new, but new to the UFC compared to Jessica. And Jessica, already been a champion. She lost the belt, but hopefully she can get back into the contender series again with this fight.
Right. In that fight, I kind of think experience is gonna matter. We got one girl. Jessica. She's 24-12. And so, that's a lot of fights in the UFC. She's experienced. But, you look at Mackenzie, man, her record, 13-3, that's a real good record in the UFC. So, you got two girls that are on the collision course. One, may have a few less fights, but she really cleans up her opponents. And then you got this girl, Jessica, who scraps a lot. She has 24 wins in the UFC, 12 losses. So she has, one thing about a person, people can say things about losses, but I think losses teaches you a lot. So she knows basically how when she gets in a tough position in that fight, how that fire feels. This other girl she has lost some fights. Don't get me wrong, she lost 3 fights, but to lose 12, that's experience. So I think experience matters and body type matters, man. She's a
Oh yeah, absolutely. Absolutely.
yeah.
The experience it's going to come into play. I think it's a 3-round fight. I'm not sure. Uh, it's definitely going to play a little factor on the third round. But once you start building up your resume, building up and getting into those championship rounds and championship fights, that experience is definitely going to take you a long way in round 4 and 5 because you'll figure out how to pace yourself because we've seen it we've seen it before and we'll see it again. A lot of these guys come out blazing. First 2 rounds they straight whack whack whack, and then they fall off after that because the conditioning is not there, and that comes with experience. You can't just go 100% the first 2 rounds and then go 20%, 30%, or even 50% in the last 3 rounds, because those are the championship rounds where people come back from behind.
Right.
You know the not just last week, the UFC fight night on ESPN Plus. The co-main was forgot his name. They were pushing him big from Brazil. He
Yeah.
came out. He came out blazing. He was undefeated too.
Right.
Come out blazing in the first 2 rounds. Just looked dominant. Like, dude, this guy just dominated this guy. And
And
then
then
the third.
blew his wad out, blew his wad.
Mhm.
Right.
Dude, the third round, the guy just came out and started barking at that guy, just straight out like woo woo woo, and like just had that dog in him. And the other guy that took care of the first 2 rounds, completely cleaned out, just couldn't do anything no more. He was just too tired. Stamina wasn't there, and that comes back to it comes back to the experience of being in there with these tough fighters, these fighters that have that dog in them, that won't quit, that won't stop, and will just keep coming forward. And you got to learn how to pace yourself with those type of fighters. And so it looked good the first 2 rounds, but maybe if he took just a bit off each round, he would have had enough to close the show and probably stayed undefeated.
Right, right. Yeah, I think that's a good point, man. Some of these fighters they get all jacked up, and that's where I think experience matters. Because I mean, if I'm a fighter and I'm all jacked up, my family's calling me, they're building me up. You're thinking about your intro so much, you get out there and you blow your fucking wad within the first couple of rounds. And so, as a fighter, I know from experience now I'm not going to do that. Maybe I shut off my phone before the fight. I understand that I need to start having a game plan, taking a step back, getting a feel for the fight, and then
Absolutely.
capitalizing on opportunities, and then letting the fight come to me. So I definitely think that that's a good point. And just to kind of keep on these girls fighters, you got Jessica Andrade, who is 32 years of age.
Yeah,
Mackenzie
she's a
Dam is
lot
30.
older.
Yeah, Mackenzie Dam is 30, so not too much older. It's a couple where you got the height
Yeah,
at Jessica is 5'1", with Mackenzie being 5'3", and then you got the weight with Jessica at 115 pounds, and they're both 150 pounds even. And
yeah,
Mackenzie slightly wins the reach advantage with 63-inch arm reach. So, I mean, this is a very when I talk about they match these two up perfectly. You get two girls that are matched
yeah,
up,
definitely.
right.
One is trying to regain her status to being a top contender, and then the other one is climbing the ladders. So it's definitely they both need to win, because the one Mackenzie is just like, okay, I got to continue to go up, because
Right.
every coming up in the ladders, one loss will bring you down a bit. And Jessica's already been at top, so she's coming down. So they're going like this. So it's a good definitely match to see who's going to go up and who's going to go down. Somebody's going to continue to go up and somebody's going to continue to go down. So it's going to be definitely a great match. Can't wait to see that one. Co-main is
Absolutely.
going to be an awesome one too as well.
Yep.
It's going to be heavy hitting bangers, and get your beer, get your chip before the fight, because it's gonna not gonna be it's not gonna be long. I think it's gonna come out to be either a knockout or a submission for one or either of the guys. I think it's
All
gonna
right.
be a
So moving on to like my man said, the co-main event, you got Sergey Pavlovich versus Tom Aspinall. This is going to be a fucking battle. I mean, let's just read the tale of the tape. You got Sergey, 31 years of age, Tom, 30 years of age. Sergey with a 6.2 foot, 6'2" height advantage, or excuse me, disadvantage to Tom Aspinall's 6'4". And I think that that's going to play somewhat of a difference, but then you have the weight at 257 versus 256. Obviously, that has to coincide. And then the reach, 84-inch reach advantage for Sergey, and for Tom Espinal, a 78-inch arm reach. So, I mean, this one, I think for the most part, these fighters are going to come out there and they're going to just bang. Like I don't think it's going to be some long ass fight. It's going to be, like you told me earlier, 3 rounds at most. and I kind of want you to kind of elaborate more on who you think for one is going to win, why you think that person is going to win, and what round you think it's going to happen. And then I'll let you know my opinion.
I think. Oh man, honestly, it's a 50-50 fight to me. You know, to my opinion, I think it's a 50-50 fight. I think they both have the power and and the ability to knock one of each other out.
Oh,
Um,
come on, man. We don't need to hear
I,
that 50. You got
I
hey,
think I think
hey,
I'll I
come on,
think I'll
G.
go with first guy. What's his name? Polish.
Sergey Pavlovich, Tom Espinal.
Pavlovich, yeah, Pavlovich. I think I'll go with him first. I think he has just the slight advantage just because he has, I think, a little bit more knockout power. I think he dominates a little bit more in the first couple rounds. But if it goes, 3 rounds, I think it's going to start leaning more towards, the other guy. I think it's going to be, if you can't close the show quick, then it needs to be within the two. And then, so it's definitely his round in the beginning, definitely Asphalt's at the end, So I think both fighters are pretty much 50-50, but I think it's gonna end. I think it's gonna be round one knockout.
Round one?
Yeah, round
Oh
knockout.
shit. That
Yeah.
is a
I
bombshell.
think I think I think round one
All
knockout.
right.
I think he
Okay.
I think he comes in blazing and just smacks him around. But if he doesn't, it's dangerous. Then it's dangerous because I don't I don't know if he can go the 3 rounds bombing like that. He's done it, but I mean, what can with this type of caliber of guy? What can maybe. So who knows?
So you look at as far as record, okay, now I'm gonna give you guys my prediction. You got Sergey at 18-1. I mean, that's equivalent to a boxing record as being undefeated. People know that.
Yeah.
You fight 19 fights in the UFC and you're able to stay clean at 19 fights. That's very unusual. And then you got Tom Espinal at 13-3. So when I'm looking at, yeah, I think Tom Espinal wins the height advantage. He's 2 inches taller. But
Yeah.
Sergey he walks around a little bit heavier, and I think with
Right.
the 84-inch reach advantage, that's gonna take a huge, in my opinion, that's gonna be huge for him. And he hasn't taken a loss that much, and these guys, man, when they're not used to losing, man, and they're getting on a little bit of
Yeah.
a roll, it's hard for them to go. And Tom Espinal has showed, hey, in 16 fights, he's lost 3 of them. That's still a great record in the UFC. But in my opinion, it's more you're more skeptical in these types of situations to a guy who's only lost once to just hey, you can give up. This other guy's going to
Yeah.
be hungry.
Absolutely.
I think that hunger ultimately from Sergey Pavlovich is going to be what's going to take the course. So I'm going to take Sergey in this fight, and we'll see, if that height or that reach advantage is the one that ends up winning. But ultimately, I think it's going to go 3 rounds, and I think Sergey is going to win by knockout. No tap out or submission. I think it's going to be heavy hands, and somebody's going to
Yeah.
sleep, and Sergey is going to put Tom to sleep.
Definitely. And I think he has this. Like you said, he comes in a little heavier. He's a heavier guy. Looks like a heavier person, heavy hitter, and like he only has one loss in the UFC and mixed martial arts, and I think he learned a lot from there because after that he just went on a rampage. He just started busting people. So I think he's definitely gonna win. I think it's the upper advantage, especially the couple first rounds. Not sure. We'll see what happens in round three if it goes that far.
Right. Right.
Yeah.
So
So,
yeah. So and I'm excited, guys. Make sure that you're liking, commenting, and guys, please let us know your
yes,
predictions, and
absolutely.
we'll
Thank
make
you for
sure
coming
that
in.
we yeah, man, we'll make sure that after the fights, we'll obviously come back and we'll see who was wrong and who was right. That's the
Yeah,
beauty of this.
absolutely. We're gonna definitely do a follow up post fight live
After the fight.
after the fights tonight. So stay tuned, and we'll go over all our predictions, all of what our thoughts, and then upcoming week. We have great boxing fights coming up. We have great UFC fights coming up. So we'll talk about those that are coming up as well. And yeah, stay tuned. Definitely, and go check out. My friend, my boy Chuck. He stays live during the fights. He'll go see that, and then you can check my lives out as well on TikTok. You
Really.
can just check out our live reactions as well on there. And definitely, we'll be back tonight for the post fight and see what everybody's thoughts were about the fights.
All right, but we're not done yet, guys. Don't think that we're wrapping this up. We wanted to make sure that we
One
got to a
more.
conclusion, but we have to get to the main event. Okay, so you're taking Jury versus my boy Alex, and Zion. This is another one where, fortunately, bro, experience. In my opinion, I'll give my opinion first. I'll let my boy. I
Go
will
ahead.
let you guys wait. I'll let you guys simmer and wait on my boy Zion's opinion. But I just think experience is gonna matter. You got a guy who's built from the kickboxing rink. You've kind of let me know a little bit about his background, but he's only 8-2. That means he's only had 10 fights in the UFC. You got a guy who is 29-3. Okay, 29-3-1 with one draw. So that lets me know that he knows that fucking ring. He knows that octagon. He knows the rules. He knows the insides and outs. And I think as a trainer, what I would do is just tell him to use all the things that we know that's gonna, matter to that type of situation. Use the ring, use the rules. You do things that you know that this guy is not experienced in, and then you ultimately
Absolutely.
close him out. So I think that's gonna matter. You got the tail of the tape. Jerry is 31 years old. He's 6'2", 205 pounds with an 80-inch reach. And then you got Alex, who is 36 years of age, 6'3", 205 with a 79-inch reach. So I mean, you got one guy that's about 5 years younger, which is Alex. Alex is the older guy. And so, like, ultimately, I think Jury's going to win this fight. I think he's going to come in there and he's going to win it. It's going to be a heavyweight fucking slugfest. He's going to clean this boy out.
Absolutely.
I think in the second round, I'm going to go second round in this fight on a shocker. And yeah, I think it's just going to be too much. I think the experience is going to be too much. And when Alex hits that fucking first round, he's going to realize that he's in there with a whole different animal than he's used to. So I'll give you the floor, brother.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it definitely main event is going to be a great fight. Definitely going to be a entertaining one. Both big guys, heavy hitters. Jerry's coming off of a injury, so I want to see how he does. Off, he's been gone almost a year. I think a year, if I'm not mistaken. But I want to see how I want to see where he's at, how his training was throughout this whole time. I know him coming back from an injury is definitely tough for a lot of fighters, and especially going up versus a fighter like Alex Pereira. That guy is a beast. The guy's huge, coming in heavy and stuff like that.
Very
But
true.
I think also, like you said, experience is definitely gonna come down to a factor. But I think it's gonna come down to, uh, Jerry, where he I want to see how he does in the first round with coming back from the injury and stuff like that. But I think I'm definitely think he will win, not only because of the experience, but I think is it's a thing to fight the former champion and beat him. Obviously the former champion got Jan. Uh, he got beat before already, and then Alex Pereira beat him after that. So it wasn't like he beat the champ; he beat the former champ. He didn't have the belt at the time he beat the former champ. But I think
Okay.
Pereira, I think Alex is in there with a whole different animal. This guy is a crazy animal beast. Doesn't back down, keeps going forward, and it's just gonna be a slugfest. So we're gonna see who definitely has the bigger power. So it's definitely gonna be a great fight. I think, yeah, we all know that Alex Pereira has been knocked out before by Izzy, so he definitely doesn't have the greatest chin, but he's a tall fighter. He's strong, so it's definitely hard to get in there. I think the time he got knocked out. I thought that he got possumed in, tricked in because he hit Izzy with a nice left kick, and then Easy covered up like this, like if he was hurt,
Right.
and Alex just started going on him, and then Easy just got him, you know, on the counter. That was lights out. That was lights out. So I think he learned from
Oh
that. I think he
shit.
learned from not to go too crazy if you see your
Yeah.
opponent hurt like that. But
Yeah.
definitely he got clipped, he got knocked out, and it definitely shows a little bit of vulnerability where it goes, okay, you know, the other fighter's like, okay, I know I can knock him out because he's been knocked out before, you know.
Right.
So definitely, I think, yeah, it's gonna be a championship fight. I think it's gonna come out down to like round. I want to say 3 or 4. I'm more leaning more towards 4, but I think it's gonna be 3 or 4. You know, and
Okay.
then it's gonna be a knockout. I don't think Alex is gonna have the stamina to come. You know, he's a big dude. You know, he cuts a lot of weight. Even when he was cutting for middleweight, he was cutting a lot of weight. So now he's not cutting as much, but he's still like these guys are walking around easy 225 plus. You know, you
Oh my
gotta,
God.
you know,
Yeah. Oh,
you know?
jeez.
Yeah. So and he's a big guy, and he's one of the guys that can cut the weight, you know, and I call those type of guys weight bullies, you know, because it's like you're a big guy. You should be fighting at light
Right.
heavyweight or
Right.
heavyweight, but you're able to cut so much
Right.
weight that you're able to come down to like middleweight and fight these other guys. But the thing is, and I just saw this too. I just saw a podcast with who was it? I think it was it was Ariel Hawani with Steve-O from Jackass. They were on a podcast, and
Steve-O.
Steve-O said he told this story about him talking to Dana White, and he said, "How come? There's a nice. This is a cool thing you guys should do. How come when the fighters come in and you know when right before they go inside the cage, they get like their Vaseline put on and everything, and they get checked
Right.
and all that, you know, right? Well, while they're doing that, they should have a scale where they can sit on the scale, where they can stand on the scale and get
Oh.
everything done, and
Oh
then they're showing
yeah.
how much they actually weigh going inside the fight.
Going into the
Because
fight.
you can weigh, let's just say 185 for the fight, 150 or 195, whatever the fight. Let's just say you can weigh that, but then you're coming in and it's like you're weighing like 260,
Yeah, you're an
240, two
unmovable
thirty.
object sitting on your punches, fucking teeing off on a
Yeah,
guy.
so it's like it happens a lot, not only in MMA but in boxing too. You know, it's like
Yeah.
a lot of these guys, you know, they come in. Let's just say like middleweight or super middleweight. They come in at 168. You know, great. This is a great one. Canelo kind of does it too, but I think the bigger one is Benavides. Benavides is the one that is the bigger weight bully, to my opinion, because I think he can easily fight at 175. He can fight Big Bull. He can fight these other guys over there that are way bigger and stronger than the super middleweights. But he's able to cut that weight to come down to 168 and then put it back on when he comes to to fight night. Because easily, I think he's coming in at like 185, 190 easy. I
Mm,
think, to be
mm.
honest. And the reason why they don't want to do that, and they starting to do that in boxing in California. They're starting to weigh you in now, and you're not allowed to weigh more than 14 pounds after that.
Mm.
And sometimes, there's catch weights, like Ryan and Tank, he had a catch weight of 136, and then you couldn't weigh one more than 140 the next day. So, they're starting to put
And you
little
had to keep
little
that.
heat
You
here
had to
and there.
honor. You had to honor your weight, basically.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. So I think that with that being said, uh, we'll see how Alex does. I know he doesn't have to cut too much weight, but let's see how the other
I
guy
think
comes
that's
in.
a good point, though, that you said. Just even for stats, for us to know how exactly much. I mean, I know they still have that. They'll let you know, every now and then, but it should be something to where it's almost like a stat to make it seem, for us to know how much this guy actually weighed walking in to the fight. That's huge
Yeah, I
to
don't think
see.
they'll. Yeah, that's a great thing, but I don't think they'll ever do it. And the reason why is just because everybody's gonna be calling him the weight
It's
bully
not gonna be
and be like,
right.
"Why is he so heavy fighting this guy?" Because the other guy is not that heavy, you
Right.
know.
It's
And
gonna show
some
how
guys
fucking
don't. Some
shady.
guys come in at like, well, let's just say, some guys come in at the right weight. Let's say, super welterweight, 154, and they don't weigh more than like 160 the next day, or one,
Right.
uh, Floyd did that a lot. He weighed in at 154, and then the next day he'd be like 156. He really didn't put weight on like that afterwards because he really
He was
wasn't
in
cutting
shape.
weight so much. He just stayed in shape the whole time, and he
Right.
wasn't a big guy either. A
Right.
big guy for welterweight, but not a big guy for super welterweight. He was,
Welterweight.
more
Right.
on the smaller side now. But it comes down to a lot of times too. There's a lot more science behind it now, a lot more technique, to the point where, back then, all these all back then, you just used to train, focus, and fight. Now it's like you training and conditioning, strength
Right.
and conditioning. Then you do like mental training. Then you got your nutritionist and everything. Like, everything's a science now.
It's a
It comes
lot.
down
Yeah.
to the T for you to be on time and on shape to your fight. So that way you have the most ability, and not come in all sucked up, because
Right.
some of these fighters come in like they about to die almost. They're like, maybe I got some water.
Yeah. No shit.
you know.
So
So
yeah. Okay.
yeah,
Well,
I
yeah.
think it's gonna come down to, we'll see how Jerry, his injury comes up. We'll see how he does in the beginning. The first two rounds, we'll see how if it affects it, and if it's not affecting, I think he will definitely win KO by round 3 or 4. I'm leaning more towards 4, but could be 3.
Right. And so remember this whole main event from the beginning was supposed to be the John Jones versus Stipe fight, but it got canceled. And so
Hmm.
now everybody kind of had to get moved up to bigger roles. So I'm excited to see how this thing plays out because this was supposed to.
Yeah, yeah. So it definitely was supposed to be John Jones versus Mochik, but I think it's unfortunate what happened, but you know what? It is what it is. I don't think they'll fight. I don't think they'll fight. Again, I think they're both. John is like 37, I think, or 36, and Montreal is like 40, 42, probably like that.
40,
So
yeah,
they're
41 versus 41 versus 36.
Yeah, so I mean, to wait they say that it's gonna take him a year to come back. So let's just say a year to come back. The guy's gonna be 42. He's gonna be. I don't.
That's an old man.
Yeah, and even though like he can still, like, there's been times where these older guys have
Boy.
won the championship, in both sports, and MMA and heavyweight. I mean, in boxing, and they're like 44 or 45 years old, and they get it done. Foreman, Barack Hawkins, uh, the heavyweight the light heavyweight from Brazil. I forgot his name, but he just won too. I mean, he just won. He won like probably like a year ago or two, the belt. He was like 44, 45. And
Damn.
so yeah, so sometimes the age doesn't really matter for some of these guys, but for most of the part, it really does. And
Right.
I think for Motrick, I think 41 to wait. I mean, who else are you gonna fight? Not really nobody out there to really fight, and to
Yeah.
wait for John Jones for a whole year. That means he's already out for like a year and a half. I mean, 2 years almost. Yeah,
Right.
no, 3 years
3 years.
almost, because
Yeah.
his last fight was versus Francis
Yeah.
Ngannou,
Been a
and
long
he got
fucking
knocked
time.
out. Yeah, he got knocked out. And so that's been like 2 or 3 years already. So, well, it's gonna be like almost like 4 years before he fights again. That's a long time to wait,
Yeah.
And so I
Yeah.
think I don't think it's gonna happen. I don't think it's gonna happen. I think John Jones will fight uh, a light heavyweight. They're gonna ask one of these light heavyweights to move up and fight John Jones for the heavyweight title. Um, and I don't know who can give him the most problem, but we'll see. We'll see at the time, of the place. But I mean, I wish they would have just brought Francis Ngannou back and be like, yo, all right, the John Jones fight, cause woo,
That would
when
have
they
been
didn't talk about it, but
that would have been
man,
good.
he beat up Fury.
He
I didn't
did,
see
bro.
that coming.
He did,
I didn't
bro.
see that coming. I didn't see that. When he
He
knocked him
did,
down in
bro.
the third round, I was just like, yo,
Thanks for coming in the comments. Thanks for coming in the
yeah,
live
thank
stream,
you,
man. We
thank you.
appreciate it, man.
Yeah,
Let's
definitely.
not
Like, man,
let's not skip
it,
over. We're gonna just do it real quickly because I know we got to get out of here and get ready for the fights. But let's give them their props. Diego Lopez versus Matt Sabatini, and these are two guys that are going to be fighting. These are the first. This is the first fight of the tournament today. The unders. These are probably these start in a cut in a little bit. These are the first ones. So
yeah,
you got these two guys squaring off. Don't know too much about uh, Pat. I'm not gonna lie. I haven't really watched too many of his fights,
yeah,
but
me neither.
Diego Lopez, I have watched his fight. So those two guys are fighting. Not going to get too much commentary on those, but make sure they know we wanted to give them their props. And the next
Yeah,
one
yeah,
is
yeah, definitely. We can bring them down.
yeah, yeah.
Definitely.
And then and then the lightweight, we got Matt Freevola versus Bennett St. Dennis. So we got those two guys squaring off. And St. Dennis, man, he is 12-1. And that dude right there is a
Mhm.
dangerous up and coming fighter. Matt, has hit the canvas taking 3 losses. So we should see how that one goes. But Ben Bennett is looking pretty good, man. I've been following him a little bit, and he can scrap a little bit. So yeah. So at the end we'll come back, give our post fight analysis. We appreciate everybody who came in there, and I'll let
Yep,
my boy
appreciate
Zion come
everybody
in.
tuned in, came in, commented, and yeah, definitely, we'll definitely see some great matches at the UFC. Oh, and let's not forget, there's also boxing tonight. Not a big card, but it's gonna be on the zone. Castillo is gonna be fighting under the son of Castillo, and then also
Yes.
Figueroa is gonna be on the main event. That's gonna be a great fight as well. So not a big card, but definitely tune into the zone. It's I think it's like $9.99 a month. You go subscribe and stuff like that. So definitely go show some love to that fight card. It's gonna be definitely good. So I'll be tuning in. I'll have both on, but I'll definitely have the UFC on the main one, and then the boxing on the side as well with the zone.
All right, man. Well, thanks again, Zion, for coming in and showing love to the podcast, man. Showing love to our show. I
Yep,
appreciate it,
yep,
man. It's been
absolutely.
13 long days, but we're back, man. It's an exciting night for fighting. So we'll get to you guys on the post fight.
Yep, let's go, and we'll see you guys post fight.
All right,
Peace.
let's do it.